be coming up throughout the fall. And we have exhibitor services. So if you need to have us for either presentations or exhibitor, I have set up tables at adult education centers for open house, special events, and things like that. We would be more than happy to do that. And then we also have the College Information Roadshow. It used to be a Winnebago. It is a large 30-foot vehicle that is a mobile classroom. And so we have parked that at adult learning centers, and actually we've done, not actually in the center, but may out in a busy part of your town to help recruit students for you, and so you stand there and give out publications and information about your adult learning center, and then we give out information. So it's a good collaborative partnership. We do have interactive web sites, so KHEAA.com, and we will be looking at that, and I will be showing you what that looks like and some of the things that you can do on that. There's also a statewide website, which is called gotocollege.ky.gov, and then there's collegeappmonth.com, which is a micro site that we have. We have an initiative called College Application Month, which is about to change a little bit in that it's going to be a fall sort of initiative to get students and adults and parents all over Kentucky to be aware of that it's time to apply early in the fall, as well as financial aid. And I'm going to be talking about that. One of the biggest changes that we've had in my tenure in working with financial aid since 1995 is that the financial aid, we're about to change the date from January 1 to complete the FAFSA until October. So that's changed some things. So anyway, we do have financial Kentucky College App.month, as well as we have a whole host of financial aid programs, which we're going to be going over. All right, so here are the resources materials that you see. And the adults returning to school, we're going to go on those more specifically. We also have the Affording Higher Education, which is in the top left-hand side, and then the college circuit we are going to go over, which is in yellow, and you can see my mouse hovering over it. We're getting the facts, which is not necessarily a publication. It is a computer program, if you will, and it resides on KHEAA.com, and it is where the purpose of it is so that students and parents can compare colleges side by side. All right, we also have Getting Set, and I'm not going to go over those. Here's the adults returning to school, and then on the lower right-hand side is the I Can Go to College Too. And this is an activity book that I know some of you still may have some family literacy programs, and this is a good one that would be appropriate for all of those children. And I'm going to say this over and over and over today, that anything you see, any of our resources that you see can be ordered online at KHEAA.com, and you just fill out a registration form and we will send those directly from Frankfurt. Although if you need them sometimes fairly quickly, you can send me an email or give me a call, and if I'm in your area and have the number of publications that you need at home, then I can can maybe sometimes bring them. And again, we're going to go over your outreach counselors in just a second. All right, the first one is the college circuit, and some of you may have seen this. I know a lot of your outreach counselors drop by things like this. It's a comprehensive guide to higher education and financial aid. So this is a publication that is appropriate for students anywhere from 8th grade. We've got a puzzle in there, all the way up to any student who is planning on furthering their education. So we've got things like, you know, the benefits of education. We've got information, of course, about the FAFSA. We've got a listing of all the state and federal grants that are out there. The glossary of terms I really like in that it tells folks the difference between what is a grant, what is a loan, what is a scholarship, and it also has a picture of all of our publications. And let me just stop 1 second and say this. When I was in adult education years ago, there was some special grant money, and you old folks may remember a gal by the name of Jacqueline Korringle. And my Adult Learning Center was through Morehead State. Morehead State applied for this special grant money. And so as part of that, I worked with 7 adult learning centers in eastern Kentucky to help their students transition to post-secondary education. And one of the very first things that I did was ordered all of these publications from KHEAA. Now, this was way long before I started working at KHEAA. And I'm a firm believer that we need to visibly display our publications and any publications about transitioning into post-secondary or careers or compass testing or ACT. Yes, I know the compass is going away. You know, we need to create a college-going atmosphere, and I think having these things on hand as references, as well as to give to your students, can assist in that. So that we'll definitely start thinking about transitioning to post-secondary, as well as I know that when I was in my Adult Learning Center, often we would have a student walk in that wanted a skills upgrade, that was getting ready to take the ACT or the compass, or some sort of admissions test to post-secondary, and we were just there to upgrade their skills and review information. But again, I think that a lot of these things you should have on hand. And again, I'm going to say it again, any of the publications you see today can be ordered at KHEAA.com, and we will mail them directly from Frankfort to your center. All right, the next one is Surviving College, and we have 2 versions of that. You know, we're not only interested in the preparing and planning on post-secondary, but we want students to have success and to be able to retain in higher education. And this is an initiative to assist with that. So we have the Surviving College, which talks about, you know, time management. The Surviving College for Adults, of course, addresses some of their unique issues, you know, child care, having a plan B, reliable transportation, things like that. You know, I know a lot of you may be as part of the KCTCS system, and this definitely would be an appropriate publication for your intro to college or college success classes. I know a long time ago I taught one that was an intro to college class just for adults, but this definitely would be a great publication for that population. And that is one of the webinars that will be coming up sometime in the fall. All right, the adults returning to school. In my opinion, this is the premier publication. If you have anything on hand from us, this should be it. At one point in my working life, I worked on one of the TRIO grants where I assisted adults to enter in post-secondary education. And my caseload at that time was anywhere from 300 to 500 adults a year. And every single adult I met with received this publication. This is a resource guide for non-traditional students. So in my opinion, this is the resource guide for any student, no matter what the age, that does not have access to a high school counselor. So in the front, it talks about admissions and financial aid, and in fact, I believe that it still has a sample admissions application. All of your adult education centers are listed in there. All of the KHEAA Educational Opportunity Centers are listed in there as supportive services. We have, one of the best things you're going to find is we have all of the Kentucky colleges in there. And there's a profile page of every single school, and within that we have their costs, what kind of financial aid they have, the admissions criterion, ACT scores. It's got contact information, so it's got phone numbers and emails and where you get the campus tours, as well as their academic majors. So an adult student, non-traditional student, could pick this up and work their way through it and get a lot of information. Again, I think this would be applicable for you to give out at maybe your orientations possibly, or definitely at GED graduations. And I have a couple of adult learning centers that I'm going to be providing brochures and pamphlets and a packet of information at their graduation, and this definitely will be one of those. Again, this is part of what we do at KHEAA. All right, again, I'm going to say it again, all publications are free and can be ordered at KHEAA.com. This is a great publication that you should have on hand, and it is Financial Aid Programs for Adult Learners. And it's a four-page publication, and it lists, the federal Pell Grant, of course, which is available for traditional as well as non-traditional students, but it's got the Go Higher grant, which we're going to go over in just a second, which is for non-traditional students. You have to be over the age of 24. Again, we can order this at KHEAA.com. All right, getting the facts. I mentioned this previously, but it is a personalized college plan. And the way it works is the student would go to KHEAA.com and create what we call a My KHEAA account. And I'm going to go over the My KHEAA account, what the advantages and what a non-traditional student can see with that. But this is one of those. So a student would simply go to KHEAA.com and create the account. They would click on, it's very simple, very intuitive, you click on getting the facts, and the student would provide information about major, possibly their income, because it's going to look at anticipated types of aid. And then what it will do is line up colleges side by side where a student could evaluate, they could look at the costs and affordability side by side. So it's a way to compare and contrast those college costs. Again, there is a brochure that just walks the student through steps by steps, but it is a personalized planning guide that you find on KHEAA.com. All right, affording higher education. Now I know that you all are on our mailing list to receive one of these and one arts. And I know many of you all, and I did when I was in West Liberty, had off-site centers. So please feel free to order multiple copies of this. This is our scholarship guide, and it has over 5,000 financial aid programs and administered by the state as well as federal government. So there is every college in Kentucky, and it lists all of their scholarships, broken down by ACT and the criterion they must meet. In the back, we have divided the state by county, so you could look at whatever your county is and look at those scholarship offerings. Again, please feel free to order multiple copies of that for your off-site centers. All right, it's Money Baby, and this actually has turned into one of my favorite presentations. So it is a publication, as well as it does have a companion presentation with this. I know that I, of course, have given it to high schools as well as adult learning centers, and I actually did this as a PD opportunity for an adult learning center. And every time I give this is not targeted towards the traditional student, because every time I give this presentation, even if it's to high school students, we've got the adults in the back agreeing with that, because I'm a firm believer, you know, if you're over the age of 10 or 11 and spent money, you have done dumb with money. And so this presentation, as well as the booklet, it is a great opportunity for you to help your students as well as maybe your staff. But it includes budgeting and saving and what is a credit report. You know, it does talk about college money. We go into what's the difference between a need and a want. So again, this is a publication as well as has its own companion presentation that we would love to come and give at your Adult Learning Center. Getting started, again, guys, I know this is not a publication that you probably have in your Adult Learning Center, but I'm going to give you the entire scope of our publications and what we do. So this is Getting Started. This is our freshman publication, and we do not print this, although you can print it. I had someone through one of the TRIO grants in Upward Bound that went on and printed this out for some of her freshmen, but it follows that freshman timeline, freshman in high school, but just wanted you to know that this was available in one of our services. The Getting Set, which is designed for sophomores. So we have the next one is, of course, for sophomores. Again, this one is only available online at KHEAA.com. Now, the Getting In is the junior publication and is the equivalent of the Adults Returning to School, except that it is targeted towards our high school juniors, and many of our seniors use that. And of course, again, we update that every year just like we do the arts. Very, very similar to the Adults Returning to School, except it is targeted towards our seniors or juniors, and it includes all of those Kentucky colleges with the profiles and the costs and the admissions criterion, just like the Adults Returning to School. All right, so again, I'm going to say this just one more time. Any of our publications you can order directly from Frankfurt. Just go to KHEAA.com. There's a counselor tab and fill out the order form, and we'll be more than happy to send that. All right, so here are our KHEAA outreach territories currently. We have come a long way in outreach. The initial territories included like 50 counties, and there were only 3 outreach counselors. So there are 13 of us as outreach counselors, and then of course we have the College Information Roadshow. So this is how you could identify who your outreach counselor is, and I just happen to be this purple, so I'm Northeastern Kentucky, and here's my cell phone, of course my email, and feel free to call or email that or any of your counselors. Our director, of course, is Susan Hopkins. She's our director. Our assistant director is Kim Dolan. We also do have a Kentucky College Coach program, and the advisor's name is Summer Gortney, and this is an AmeriCorps grant. And so we have college coaches throughout the state of Kentucky that assist in high schools with students transitioning into post-secondary. And then if anyone is interested in the College Information Roadshow, which is the mobile classroom, the gentleman's name is Stephen Held, and here's his phone number as well as his email. Feel free to call him. Just remember that there is one of him, and so he travels the entire state, and as soon as you would come up with your event and have some sort of date, please notify him, because he books up fairly quickly. All right, now let's get into our publications, and we do have age-appropriate publications that actually start with upper elementary pretty much beginning middle school. And this is our outreach presentation guide, which you can go to our KHEAA.com under the Counselor tab, and you can read this or you can order one. But in the publication, in the book, it has all of our presentations if you want to see a short description of those, what kind of time that you'll need, although all of us in giving our presentations can tailor the time frame depending on what your time constraints are. So this is the publication guide, so I want you to feel free to go online and look at that and get the description of those presentations. All right, this is the College Information Roadshow. It looks exactly like this. It has been shrink wrapped, and you may have seen it in your communities, but Mr. Held drives this, and as I said before, this is a mobile classroom. It has 11 computers on there. And we would be more than happy to, he would be more than happy to schedule to come to your Adult Learning Center just as a regular day, or if you have some sort of open house or some sort of special initiative. I know in the past if you have a family literacy night, we've done that. But it does have internet access, and would be more than happy to come to your Adult Learning Center. All right, now this is our KHEAA.com website, and it is an interactive web portal. So we wanted to have a single point of information for all of Kentucky residents. And this is one of the webinars that I will be giving coming up sometime. I believe this one will be December, but I do have a slide that includes all of those presentations. But it has college and career exploration, so a student could go to the Picking the School tab, and we have, of course, all of the colleges in Kentucky, and we have a hyperlink that would go directly to their website. Of course, we've got financial aid information because, of course, that's what we are all about, so we've got all of that information. We've got a scholarship search, so you can go online and go out. The student could put in parameters or fill out the form where it includes information about intended major and ethnicity and religion and things like that, and we'll go out and hunt for scholarships that match any of those criterion. We have publications and newsletters that we provide for all of our constituents out there, and if you want to sign up for some of those, absolutely, we'll send those electronically to you monthly. And then we have the personalized My KHEAA account. Now there are a couple different things that that you all can use this for your non-traditional or adult students. First of all, we can check the KEYS awards amount, but let me be clear, and I'm going to go over it more specifically in just a minute. If a student has dropped out of high school, they are not eligible for any of the high school grade point averages. However, if they meet the criterion, and that criterion is they are taking the ACT and attending post-secondary within 5 years of graduation, they may be eligible for the ACT bonus award. Of course, we can, it generates the Getting the Facts report that we've already gone over. In addition, if you are assisting a student, and I know many of you do assist students with completing the FAFSA, and we're going to go over the state grants, and that's what we administer, the state CAP grant and the KTG and the Go Higher. They can go on the website and see if they've been awarded. In addition, the Go Higher grant, and I'm going to go over this and you'll see this, which is for adults, that is where the form is to apply to this. Now, you also have to complete a FAFSA, but you also have to complete out a short application. This is what the website, a screenshot of the front page, and a student would simply go on to the sign in, And once they click the sign in, if they already have an account, then you would put in the user ID and the password. If they have not, a student would simply need to register, and a registration form will pop up, and of course the student would need to know their name, birth date, and social security number, and they create a user ID and password, and then they would go directly to whatever section that is applicable. Now, as I keep talking about where you can order, if you'll see this counselor tab, and if you click on that directly, that's where you'll go and see our outreach, all of those publications, the order form, the presentation guide that I just talked about. All right, now this is a brief overview of financial aid in the FAFSA process. This is in no way to imply that you all have to be financial aid experts. However, I just wanted to go over a couple things. We have some major changes coming up in financial aid, as well as I wanted you all to have an understanding about the state grants and the other services that we provide. So the major types of financial aid are scholarships, grants, work studies, and loans, and we happen to provide those for Kentucky residents. So what is the FAFSA? This is a screenshot of the free application for federal student aid, and of course it is totally web-based now. And in fact, I believe I read something recently where you will not even be able to obtain a paper copy. And by the way, I do go back to 1995 where all we had, of course, was the paper copy. So this is the website, and it has a GOV extension. So it is, you go to FAFSA, fafsa.ed.gov, as you see at the bottom, and this is a screenshot, and this is where a student would get started. Now, the FAFSA application process, and this is just brand new, so I wanted to review it for you folks who have either filled out a FAFSA for a student, or maybe you have filled one out. The PIN is no longer available. So those PIN numbers that we created years back are no longer valid. And what they have gone is to something called an FSA ID. And this is a screenshot of where you would go to create the FSA ID. The FSA ID is nothing more than increased security. The federal government had a big data breach, and they decided that that they needed to increase the security. And I had someone ask me recently, oh, well, why? Who would want to steal my FAFSA information? Well, if you think about it, you know, the FAFSA contains Social Security numbers for both parents as well as the student, and income and income taxes. So definitely we would want those to be secure. And just as a note, the FSA ID is email driven. So the student would have to have an email, and if it is a student under the age of 24, one of their parents. Now, I tried to make this very, very big and very, very bold, and I said this before as I started, is that one of the biggest changes in financial aid is that no longer is January 1 the date that we would want to complete the FAFSA. As starting this October, we will begin FAFSA for the upcoming school year in October 1 of 2016, not January of 17, 2016. So I made that very, very bold just so that you all would be aware of this big change. And this year, in order to complete that for the upcoming school year, we will be using, for the first time in history, the 2015 income taxes for a second time. And so no longer will we be on the FAFSA by having to estimate very early in January and then updating once we get our taxes. From now on, we will be using completed income taxes, which I think is going to be great, and it sort of simplifies the process. But again, just wanted to bold that October 1 is the upcoming priority deadline. All right, private scholarships, and of course we also provide private scholarships. And again, just wanted to highlight the Affording Higher Education. I think it is a great publication that we print, and you won't find any other publication that just is for Kentucky scholarships. Now let's just go with need-based aid, and of course how do you get need-based aid? It's simply by, of course, filling out the FAFSA, and the FAFSA is an eligibility form. Again, I know you all won't become experts, but want you to be familiar with the types of aid that we do offer. So if you look, this is the Kentucky State Grants, and so we have a grant called the College Access Program Grant, and it is for the undergraduate student attending Kentucky colleges. So it is Kentucky residents attending Kentucky colleges, and a student has to be enrolled at least half-time. Again, that is one of the grants that we could look at on KHEAA.com to see if the student has been awarded that. The second one is the Kentucky Tuition Grant, and that is for Kentucky residents attending Kentucky private colleges. So if a student were attending a private college in Kentucky, they would be eligible for all three grants, depending on their need, of course, but they would be eligible for the federal Pell Grant, the TAP Grant, as well as the Kentucky Tuition Grant. Now, the Go Higher Grant, and I referenced this before, has been around a long time, although I find adult education providers, maybe it has slipped their mind. This is a grant for adult students over the age of 24 enrolled in a Kentucky institution less than half-time. So way back when I was helping adults, or I would have an adult in my adult learning center that wanted to go to college, but because of all of their obligations with their time, you know, they were, you know, parents and spouses, and they worked and all of that, they didn't have time to, or did not want to start college on a full or part-time basis. And you have to be enrolled at least 6 credit hours to receive any of the federal Pell Grant. So this is a grant typically that adults would use to get started. So they could take one class and it would pay for it where most other funding would not, and that is up to $1,000. And again, you can go to KHEAA.com and you can see that award or the application. We then have a work-study program that is of course a work-to-learn program where you work and as part of and if you were enrolled in an institution, and that is part of your financial aid package, and we do have that also. All right, we do have scholarships, so, and I'm not going to read them. Of course, you all can read. We do have, of course, most of you are familiar with the KEYS. Mary Jo Young is for dual credit. We do have a scholarship for child care providers. Kentucky Coal County Completion Scholarship is a program for students who live in coal-producing counties. And then we have the Early Graduation Scholarship Certificate. These are conversion scholarships, and a conversion means that it is a scholarship. If you fulfill the obligations set forth, then it is not. It does turn into a loan. It converts into a loan. All right, just a quick review of KEYS and how it is awarded. And of course, let me be clear, again, if a student does not graduate from a Kentucky high school, they are not eligible for any of this in the grade point average. But just so that you'll be familiar with it, students enroll in a certified Kentucky high school, and what happens is every year someone in the school system reports their final grade point average to us, and we award money based on the chart. So of course $500 is for a 4.0. And we do this all 4 years. However, I want you to understand this isn't average. So every year a student would have the opportunity to come in and earn that $500. So we don't look at what has happened the prior year or years. Every year it is a clean slate. Now, the second, of course, way to earn money is through the ACT, and this is the one that adult ed students could potentially be awarded if they, of course, take the ACT and attend post-secondary within 5 years of graduating from high school. And again, back to the KHEAA.com and their My KHEAA account, if the student and or you would want to know when the student's expiration is on their KEYS award, it does have on their My KHEAA account would have the expiration date. This, of course, is the third way. I'm not going to get into it to earn money. So there is additional money for AP, IB, and CAI bonus. However, this one, the student has got to be eligible for free and reduced lunch to award it. All right, how do you get your keys? Of course, you know, there are not specific classes. A student does not have to apply for the scholarship. It happens automatically. And if a student graduates from high school, more power to them. We do have programs for that. Where can you use your KEYS award? By and large, guys, of course, this is for Kentucky colleges. We do have some exceptions, and the Council on Post-Secondary approves and keeps a list of. And of course, this is a renewable scholarship, so a student could receive it up to 4 years of college, but they have to maintain specific grade point averages. All right, just again, Kentucky Educational Savings Plan Trust. This is the 529 program where parents and families help save money for children's education. That is us. We do that, and they have a website called KentuckySave.com. Lastly, remember me saying that we did offer grants, scholarships, loans, and work studies. So here is our loan. Now this is a private student loan for students or parents. Of course, it is not, they would of course get their Stafford loan, but if they indeed need more money for college, then we do offer additional funds for that program. All right, and in a minute, if luck is with me, I'm going to see if I can open this up for any questions. But just so that you all will be aware, we do have a series of webinars that I will be giving in the upcoming months. And these are targeted towards your students. However, be more than happy for any of you adult education providers to attend also. Again, they will be recorded, and I believe they will reside so that upon demand, you or any student could access those. I believe it's going to be on the KHEAA website. So May 3rd, we're going to be talking about paying for college for adult students. This will be financial aid, the FAFSA grants, loans, scholarships, things like that. We'll be going over that. August 2nd will be surviving college for those adult students as we start college. November 1 will be the It's Money Baby presentation that I talked about. And then December 6th will be Making the Most of KHEAA.com. We will get on that and go over all the sections so that you will be familiar with all of the tabs and what kinds of information are contained in that. All right, that concludes my presentation, and if I can do this, I will be unmuting so that if you have questions, and if not, you all can type those questions in. So let me see if I can unmute so that you will be able to answer questions here. Let's see. Mute all participants. Any more questions? All right, we appreciate your attending with us today and look forward to the upcoming webinars. Thank you.